What's up, everybody? This is Daniel Gonzalez. I will be your English teacher today, and we are going to be talking about how to construct an argument. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you're at right now. This is a topic that I have seen that has been quite difficult for all of my students, whether I was teaching business, whether I was teaching English, whether I was teaching outside of the university in other fields. This has always been difficult for my students, and it makes sense because the core of this is critical thinking. Like, if you're not able to sit down and think critically about something, you're not going to be able to create a position. And so what I'm going to do is try to walk you through how to think critically and create an argument. You make these all the time, actually, and we make them about things that we're passionate about. We just don't realize that we're creating arguments or positions. Before I get into all of it, let me just tell you that I'm going to be kind of using some words synonymously. Argument, position, controlling idea, thesis statement. You're going to say it in a different way all around the country, all around the world. All of those terms mean the same thing. They all come to this point of what is the thing you're trying to prove. Make sense? That's really what all these words are. It's just, what are you trying to prove in this paper, right? Or what are you trying to prove in this speech, right? All of it, at the end of the day, is the same thing. What are you trying to prove, okay? So this is what I want you to do. If you're new to this and you're like, oh, crap, I haven't taken an English class in years, or I haven't written anything in a very, very, very long time, right? I want you to follow along with me. I'm going to try to do one of these with you, okay? These are just some questions that I kind of constructed really quick right now. Nothing major. You can go ahead and write them really quick on a piece of paper, or you can write them on your computer, and then we're going to kind of fill them in little by little. One of the rules that I kind of give my students, or suggestions, that I give my students is when we are constructing work, whatever it is, whether it be a speech, an argumentative paper, a research paper, whatever it is, a poem, it's always nice to have something on the page already. Even like this. It really helps deal with the anxiety of the blank space. Even artists will say that sometimes too, like the blank canvas is intimidating, right? So this will kind of help you deal with that, a little bit of that anxiety. So let's take a look, okay? I was just checking to see if I was recording. So the first thing is, what is my argument? This is probably a question that you're going to be coming back to later, okay? If you already have that answer, go for it, and then you can use the rest of these questions as kind of like a litmus paper for it, right? But you should be good to come back to this one. So what I would recommend is, what is important about my argument? We need to answer that one too. It's called, I'm going to write it here, so that way you guys can understand my language. It's called the significance. The significance, right? We'll talk about the significance a little bit. What do you want to talk about, right? Or what do you have to talk about, right? What do you have to talk about? What do you want to talk about? How about, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about something fun, something that I've been watching. I want to talk about Modern Family, right? And what specifically about Modern Family? Sofia Vergara, and what about her? I want to talk about Sofia Vergara is actually a really great comedic actress that is overlooked in the United States because of her looks, right? I don't know. Sounds like an interesting argument, right? I think a lot of people look at Sofia Vergara and they just see like the big bust, the big butt, the looks, she's gorgeous and stuff like that, and they just don't realize that what she does on Modern Family, honestly, is great comedic work, really. And she's got a great director, too. The directors that they have there on Modern Family are fantastic. But she does such a great job at capturing emotions and driving a lot of feelings. She adds this layer to the show that's really, really fantastic. And so maybe that's what my paper is. Sure, why not? Whatever. If you want to pause the video here, you can do that. You don't have to get super detailed right now, right? I just came up with that really quickly. You can keep going down that list and keep fine-tuning what you want to talk about little by little by little by little by little, okay? So you might have like 8 points there, 9 points, 10 points, whatever. Keep going until you get to kind of like a general thing that you want to prove, right? You want to prove something. Really quick before you pause, or if you pause and you came back because you were confused, what you're trying to prove cannot be a fact. It cannot be empirical data that you're trying to prove in the sense that, you know, I don't know, this light is yellow or something like that, or 2 + 2 is 4. We're not proving facts. These are all opinion points. Almost every argument is an opinion point, okay? And so you're not trying to prove 2 + 2 is 4. So, you know, don't try to prove that, I don't know, some of my students are doing these interviews are used a lot. Of course they're used a lot. They're used by every freaking business. Like, that goes without saying. You're not proving anything there. You're trying to prove an opinion, okay? So go ahead and pause it and then come back when you're done. So now you should have a decent amount of questions there. Again, if you got confused in that area, all you need to do is you just keep going down the list. Sofia Vergara. If I wanted to, what do I want to say about Sofia Vergara? Sofia Vergara and her ability to do comedy. Sofia Vergara is often only seen as a pretty face and not a comedian. Slapstick comedy, right? And then I basically got to what I really wanted to prove. Sofia Vergara is actually a really great comedic actress that is overlooked in the United States because of her looks, right? You just keep going. Just keep fine-tuning it, right? Let's see here. Let me fix that. It's bugging me. So when you're done with this, you go into this thing, okay, like this is what I want to talk about right here, okay? This is what I want to talk about. I end up in this kind of fine-tuned area. Where should I start my research? Well, with Sofia, and again, this is going to be up to you how you do it. I probably should watch the entire show. Look up her other works in comedy specifically. Look up what she did in Colombia. And I think she was on shows in Colombia as well. I don't know, maybe interviews on YouTube, written interviews. Maybe she wrote an autobiography. Let's see here. That should probably take me in the right direction there. There's going to be so many different ways that you can do this, and depending on your paper, it might take you in so many different directions. Like, for example, if you're in college right now and you're writing and you just say, okay, well, I'm writing on X, Y, and Z, maybe you want to go and talk to some of the doctors in the field that you're writing, and maybe they can help you out. Like, for example, like if I was doing this one for a college paper, maybe I can go to a communications professor that can point me in the right direction. Like maybe a professor that had a background in theater. Probably theater would be a good one, right? So like if I was doing this one for school, theater professor at my local university. You just are basically trying to make the job easier for yourself. Just say, okay, I'm gonna go through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here, and I'm gonna see what I come up with. There's a good chance that 2 or 3 of these are gonna get your details, your information. You never know, but you're just trying to make the job easier for you, okay? What I like to tell my students is this, is that when we're here in this brainstorming phase, the more information you put, the better, right? It's gonna make it so much easier to write. The reason why writing is hard is because we don't do this part right here. This is the part that matters in writing. You can't write about something that you don't understand in your head. But if you worked everything out in brainstorming, all you're doing is just transferring your ideas onto paper. But people don't do that part, and that's why they're stressed when they're writing, okay? So again, go ahead and pause it, write down these ideas. You can add to this later on. And then when you're done, come on back, okay? So you should have finished all of this. That's great. And see, where should I start my research? What kind of things should I look into? I pretty much said what I wanted to look into already, so I'm going to delete this one. Maybe yours is a little different. Because I put, like, look up her other works in comedy, right? But that might be important to you. What kind of questions do I have right now? Did she do comedy in Colombia? Did she have any formal training in comedy? Was Modern Family her first big break in the United States? No, I think that's decent. Maybe I come up with some more questions later on. But yeah, I think those are it. The reason why you want to have questions here, yeah, her opinion on her own work as an actress. Is her work in drama as good as her work in comedy? Again, you're writing your own right now, right? I think she did like a drama where she played like some drug kingpin or something like that. I wonder how good it is. Again, I really don't know much, and so these are kind of the questions that I have. You want to have questions. What are you looking for in this research, right? You want to have things that you're aiming towards, because if you just like look up what she did in Colombia, you can go a million different places. When I'm looking up her work in Colombia, I'm looking, did she do comedy? Did she have any formal training, right? Did she have formal training in drama? Did she go to a drama school or an acting school or something like that? So when I look up her background in Colombia, I'm not just going to look for, 20 pages of random crap. I need to have a goal for my research, okay? And that's really what this is right here. And let me just put that on the side, right? Goal for your research. Right? You need to have a goal for this research, okay? And that will make it a lot easier for you to look things up. And then as you're researching, you might develop new things that you want to look into, okay? So let's see here. Who does this argument apply to? All right, this is super important. You need to know who you're writing to. Oh, one more time. Once again, if you want, pause the video and go ahead and take a peek at your own work and go ahead and write whatever you need to write and then come back, okay? So who does this argument apply to? When you are writing an argument, you need to ask yourself, who is the target audience that this is for? Who is going to be reading this? Who should be reading this, right? And that will determine a lot of things, like what kind of language you use, what kind of tone you want to use, what level of research you want to use, what kind of structure you want to have for your work, all these kind of things. And so when we're doing this, and I'm going to minimize this one second because this is bugging me out here. I'm like looking at myself in the camera and it's bugging me because I'm getting distracted. So who does this argument apply to? When you are writing your paper, you need to think, or you're creating your speech, you need to think, okay, who's going to read it or who's going to be listening? This one right here that I'm doing, let's say I'm writing this for a communication class or YouTube video. This audience will tell you what you need to do, the way you want to approach it. So for example, if I'm doing this for a comm class, I'm really going to focus in on her ability to communicate, and I'm going to use a lot of language that we use in academic communication. If I'm also doing it for a YouTube video essay, then I might be a little bit more playful with my language. I might talk a little bit more fun. I might quote a little bit more from some big interviews that she did online because my audience is already used to watching videos, so that will just be another video for them to look up. So on and so forth. A lot of times you guys are doing this for an academic classroom, if that's the case, you're probably not using a lot of these video interviews and stuff like that, because what we're looking for in the academic classroom are usually scholarly I cannot spell that. Is that it? Yeah, I think I got it. Scholarly, peer-reviewed sources. So what that means is this, is that when we're writing for an academic classroom, well, it's actually that's true. YouTube and the academic classroom are kind of getting closer and closer when we do these things, especially video essays have become like that. A lot of times people want to see scholarly sources, which means like your data comes from research and from academic backgrounds. And then on top of all that, they want it to be peer-reviewed. So what does that mean? Peer-reviewed means that a lot of times these papers were written in colleges or research facilities, and they were checked by other people in the field and even outside of the field, and they kind of put their stamp of approval, right? Like, I'm putting my name on this and saying that it is good and it is worth being read, right? Because if anybody can publish anything, you can just put something out there and be like, oh look, I did a study or something like that. But unless it's got like peer-reviewed sources on, peer-reviewed checks on it, then it's probably not safe, and it's not something that we respect in academia. So these are things that you want to think about. Who does this argument apply to? If it's an academic classroom, you're probably doing scholarly, peer-reviewed sources, okay? And then this is the fun part. All right, this area right here probably won't take you that long. It's probably like one thing, and it's probably number 3 if you're watching this video. It's an academic classroom. What type of argument do I want? Okay, this is super fun. This is where I think a lot of you guys get super confused because you don't know that there are multiple arguments, right? There's actually like 10 or 12 or 15 different types of arguments, okay? And I can like sit here and write about all of them, but I might as well just tell you, like, you know, just look it up, okay? But what I want you to look up is literary criticism, okay? I think I have, do I have it right here? I might have a video. Look, I popped this one up. This one's fun. This video is awesome. I just found it right now because I was like, I want to make sure I know my stuff, right? This video is really, really cool. 10 types of literary criticism. This is it. When you create an argument, you're basically creating a criticism, right? A critique. And these will help you kind of understand what type of argument you want to construct, what kind of position you want. And I love this video. I thought they were doing, there's historical criticism, like how the history of a time affected whatever you're talking about. Let's see, there was biographical criticism, how the person that wrote it changed it because of their background and what they went through and yada, yada, yada. There's just a bunch of them, dude. And like I said, we could be here all day talking about these. This is a great video, 10 types of English literary criticism from English grammar and literature. I really recommend watching it, okay? But at the end of the day, you need to pick the one that you want to use. There's the compare and contrast types, so on and so forth. There's so many of them. So what I want you to do is put down 3 or 4 that you want to use or you are considering using, and then you will decide which one works best with what you're trying to say, right? And that'll be up here, right? What do I want to talk about? And which argument really focuses in on this? And then you can study that style of argument and develop a way of approaching it, okay? So let's come up here, right? This won't take you that long. Just do some research, right? Pick a type of argument. I don't know. I think I'll look into it. I don't know what language, what type of I want to call it. But I'll come up here, and what is my argument? I actually feel that this is pretty similar to what I want to talk about. Like, as in, like, that's pretty much it. I can clean it up and make it sound much cleaner. Sofia Vergara is a... Whoops. Is a great comedic actress that is overlooked in the United States because of her looks. Much cleaner. I don't need a lot of those adjectives and stuff like that to just to say what I'm saying. It's the same sentence without all of it. It's a lot cleaner. Sofia Vergara is a great comedic actress that is overlooked in the United States because of her looks. Sounds good. Now, here's the hard one. This is the one that people get all messed up with, right? Why is your argument important, right? This is where so many students overlook this, right? When you are constructing an argument, you got to ask yourself the question, significance / so what, okay? Why is what you're talking about important? What you are writing about, why is it important for people to hear? It's like, imagine you walked out into a field or a classroom or something and you said, everyone stop what you're doing, I have something I want to say. And you say it and everyone looks at you like, so what's the big deal, right? Like, let's say your argument was Pizza Hut made a mistake switching their dough like 10 years ago or something. I think they did. Everyone's like, okay, so what? What's the big deal? Your argument might not be that significant. It might not be important at all, right? It's the same question here. Why is it important for us to talk about this? You know, it's important because, and let me just rattle something off really fast. Let's see. Many actors and actresses in Hollywood are typecasted because of their looks or background, what's it called, and are not given full room to explore their talents and provide better content to the world, better content to the world as a whole, leaving us with less art that can and should impact the masses. Sure, why not? Whatever. Basically, I'm saying here is that because of typecasting, because we just say, oh, you've got to be the bimbo, or oh, you've got to be the nerd, right? We are losing content that could impact writers, directors, actors, all these people that are children or young or even old and want to get into the field, and they're not getting to be exposed to this material. This material could be the stuff that changes their lives and leads them to then create content for us as well, and inspires other people, and so on and so forth, right? To a degree, it's a slippery slope fallacy, but even then, it's like, it's true, right? The more that people explore and find out that they're fantastic, then the more content we get. A great example of that is Jim from The Office. I can't remember his name, but like, he was actually really good in dramas. Like, he's pretty good. And I think you could really quickly typecast him into his role in The Office, and like, he's just gonna be like comedy and stuff like that. But he did great in drama. Like, he did really, really well. Robin Williams is a fantastic one, right? In the 80s and stuff, he was just nothing but comedy. And really, I think a lot of the works that people remember him for are his drama works, actually. Like Good Will Hunting, Patch Adams, Jack, right? And so imagine a world where we didn't have that and Hollywood just said, no, Robin Williams, you only do comedy, go do more cartoons, go do more silly, stupid stuff. Like, we wouldn't have a lot of these fantastic movies that like move people, right? And I would argue even more so that there's another argument, that he's probably the most important character in Good Will Hunting, right? Like, he really carries that movie. And if he wasn't in that movie, I don't think we would have the ending that we had. It was just fantastic. And so, yeah, that's why I feel like this is important, right? It's important to understand that Sofia is actually a fantastic comedic actress, because we need to start analyzing what people can and can't do and really being detailed about it, so that way we can ask as viewers for more content with them in those areas, right? It's like, I don't need to see Sophia in a bikini or anything like that. I need to see her doing comedy work. I need to see her doing more of that. That's awesome. She's talented. She's so much more than her physical appearance. She's a mind. She's capable of things, right? Like, that's the thing here. That's what I'm trying to argue. Your argument is going to be whatever it is that you want. You need to sit down, though, and think, why is what I'm talking about important? Why is what I'm talking about important? And this also needs to go through that lens of, who are you talking to? So if I'm talking about a YouTube video essay, this really goes really well in that, because there's going to be other fans of multimedia in there, and they're probably going to be talking about it in the comment section, right? Same thing in any of these. A comm class, this is important to know, right? Because there's going to be future directors in there, so on and so forth. And then an academic classroom, maybe not. It depends, you know, like if this is an English class, maybe this isn't exactly what I'm supposed to be writing on, you know. That lens, though, is going to help you figure out, is this the significance I should have? And on top of all of that, is this the argument that I want to make? Make sense? Guys, I hope this was helpful. Go through this. This should make it really, really easy. And then I think I've made a video for you guys already on outlines. If I haven't done that already, I'll make one for you later just to help you kind of construct stuff. But I do hope that this helps you kind of construct an argument. And one more time, remember, go and check out this video, or just look up, you know, types of literary criticisms or types of literary arguments, and then just be inspired. Like, what direction do I want to take with this paper? There's so many different directions that you can go. I've done probably all of them, right? And you can try to do a couple of these and just see which one sticks with you. Make sense? All right, my dudes. I will see all of you later. Thank you guys for stopping by. Bye-bye.